All right. Great. Well, let's welcome our audience. Hi, Brian. How are you?
Good morning.
Great. Yeah, we're here at CAAA Convention in lovely Rancho Mirage, January 2022. Welcome. Glad you're here, Brian. Glad to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we have some cool things to talk about. I hit you up specifically because I know you're a little bit forward thinking when it comes to technology. And I sent you some draft questions, and you didn't disappoint. I'm excited. So it's good to talk to you. Why don't you give us a little background on yourself, kind of what your firm does, and how long you've been in the game?
Okay. Yeah, I started my workers' compensation practice approximately 10 years ago. And before that, I had been working for other law firms, so I had gotten familiar with the workers' comp system. And I always had this passion for representation of what I call the average Joe, the working man. So it was right up my alley, and I decided just to focus on that.
Yeah, the blue collar workers.
Correct. Yeah, or anybody who's just, your average Joe is going to work every day, working hard, and then when they get in a pickle, they're up against big, powerful entities. They're up against insurance companies and attorneys, and then they get crushed if they don't get help. So,
yeah, what a tough. I can't imagine. I think these folks. I'm sure you got some great stories. These triumphant stories, but also some sad ones where people are, their lives are changed just so dramatically, and probably almost always from a work injury. That's a big change in somebody's life.
It is. It's sad to see that the trajectory of someone's career can change in an instant from a work injury. Yeah.
So you represent all types, but it's the idea that we're all working, and it's the working man. So that seems like cornerstone of kind of your marketing, right?
It is, yeah.
Average Joe, is that what you call it?
Yeah, I did trademark the slogan. It's fighting for the average Joe.
Uh-huh.
And I got my federally registered trademark in that about 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, right on. Good for you. All right, well, let's kind of get into some of the tech stuff. I'm really interested in how the COVID shutdown, the work from home mandate, how that affected your firm, and remind us how many employees you have?
We have 6.
Okay.
6 full-time employees.
Right. Yeah. So how did that go for you? What was the the story behind how you transitioned to work from home?
Fortunately for us, it was a very easy transition. The way that I had structured the law firm, I always thought it was a waste of time and resources to have people driving to a central office every day, especially in Southern California where there's gridlock traffic everywhere. So I didn't want to see my own employees suffer in the same way that I did as an employee. I hated being on the road for 2 hours every day, so I thought, why don't we just rethink how we work? And I wanted to do this using my technological skill to do things in the cloud, use the internet, use our telephones, use our computers, wherever we are. And so we were already all working from home before COVID hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys were already working from home.
Everybody.
Oh, yep. Fantastic. Yeah, you made a point. You mentioned open source versus off-the-shelf software and tools. I can't tell you how much I agree with that, especially for small business. Well, you have to have the skill, right? It's not for everybody. Not all business owners can take advantage of the open source architectures that are out there for small business. It does take some skill, but it's super happy to hear that's been kind of your one of the things that helped you guys be successful.
Yeah.
So
to use these open source platforms, it's great because it doesn't matter what kind of system you're using or what you prefer. So I always ask all my employees, what do you like to work on best? Apple computers, you like Microsoft Windows? It doesn't matter to me, but we can use it all.
Yeah.
In our practice.
We funny story. So I was early-ish in the business, but I was hammering away on a document, and my laptop just died. I was like, oh my gosh, it's gone forever. So that was the catalyst for me to switch from Microsoft Office and go to Google Mail, Gmail, and Docs. And
Yes.
that was, gosh, that must have been, I can't, 06, maybe '07. So not only that, I think, and you probably experienced this too, the portability of an employee, even in an office space, specifically in an office space, when you have a machine go down, you plug and play an employee into a different workstation.
Yeah, I love that, especially about the Google Apps for Business.
Mm-hmm.
You just, it synchronizes everything. It's
Yeah.
always there, no matter what computer you're on.
Yeah.
And we even use the Chrome extensions and plugins
Yes.
that
Yes.
really help with our productivity. So we have this one thing called Text Expander.
Okay.
And things that you type all the time that are just time sucks, you create a little snippet for it, and then you just type in a few letters, and boom, you got your whole template right there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we recently started to use, well, I don't know if recent, but if you're aware of the Google Sites, so you can create like an intranet.
Right.
Super cool. We started to post newsletter and just general information that we needed employees to be, links to processes, etc. Yeah.
That's a great idea for me. I have a law office procedure manual that we started putting together in a Google document, but it's become a monster. It's huge, and so I think I should probably convert that into something like an intranet site on Google Sites.
Yeah, it's been helpful for us. We use Asana too as like a project management tool and as an extension. Yeah, this is cool stuff. Yeah. So what that's great to hear. You guys didn't have any hiccups. What technologies have you been were you most relieved to actually have in place when it came to the shutdown specifically?
Definitely our practice management system, Maris Case. Everything was already working for us, and we're all in the cloud. So when we went to remote court appearances and stuff like that, we didn't really have to change anything. We were already e-filing everything. And I've liked it actually to have video trials and telephonic court appearances. There were so many times I'd drive 45 minutes to the board, and then the hearing took 30 seconds, and the rest is just a waste of time. I mean, it's nice to meet people and see familiar faces, and I missed that social aspect of it, but boy, we saved so much time during COVID.
Yeah, so how has the video conferencing been going? Is that something, I know you guys had court call before, you could do call in for your conferences, but video, has that been positive for you?
For me, it has been. And, before COVID, though, with court call, it was expensive. Like the company, court call, I think it was $80 to call in per case.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
And if we stacked, 4 different hearings with different judges, you'd have to pay that for all those hearings. And so what the board did is they opened up an AT&T landline type of deal, and that was free for all participants to call in. Now with the video trials, that's been nice for me, but it has created some technological problems for the injured worker who might not be as tech savvy. The state selected proprietary software for their video conferencing. It's not my favorite. It's a little glitchy. But it's good that it does work on cell phones. So most people have a smartphone and they can video in, and that's how a lot of my clients do the video trials.
Yeah. So there, that can be that seems like it'd be tough on injured workers. One of the questions I had for you is what would you have done differently during this time, and I really love your answer.
Now I can't even remember what I wrote.
So you said something about educating the industry
that's right. Yeah. So it was disappointing initially for me to see that everything just came to a screeching halt, and I had all of my depositions get canceled by the defense, and I was like, you don't have to. I mean, we've got Zoom. Life can go on here. Our practice can go on. And I wish that the legal community had been more prepared technologically to know what we can do, and that these new ways of doing things are actually a lot better in some ways, more efficient.
Yeah. So the education of the industry and even the Cal Bar, I love what you said, and I'm curious more specifically, how would you have gone about approaching them and approaching, our industry about, this? I say that because it almost seems to fall on deaf ears when you talk about efficiency in infrastructure. People are like, yeah, whatever. But then something like this happens, and the cream rises to the top. You didn't skip a beat. I didn't skip a beat. We know why we didn't skip a beat. It's because we were ahead of the curve a little bit when it comes to. I wouldn't even say ahead of the curve. We're just being smart about our business.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how would you even go about approaching?
This. When you look around the room at these conventions, you'll notice the attorneys have been practicing a long time. These guys have a lot of experience, and they've done things the old way, which worked for them. And it's scary to change. It's very scary to change. If you don't understand the technology itself, then it could seem insecure, threatening to your business model or whatever. And so I think that fear kept a lot of firms pulling around paper files.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do it, actually, because paper files just take so much time and space. We were already paperless, like I said, using Maris case. But I think that conventions like this, or even defense-oriented conventions, there needs to be a speaker that's talking about tech and what they can do and consider.
Yeah. You should have done the what was that panel yesterday? It was Cause Got Talent. Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to come up there and talk about blockchain or crypto or something. So I was looking for you, but you weren't there. I didn't even know what was happening, but yeah. So that kind of brings up the next topic. What innovation are you excited about right now? And man, I couldn't have been more excited to hear you talk about blockchain technology.
Right.
It's an area that I've been studying since I was introduced in 2017. I mean, we all kind of heard about Bitcoin, but blockchain technology was kind of explained to me in 2017, and I started to study it in 2018 pretty heavily. As just as a tech nerd kind of thing and researching it. So I always think about what's the application. Of course, that's where the rubber meets the road. And for those of people that are listening that don't know, blockchain is basically the engine, the back end of what Bitcoin is and cryptocurrency is. But there's applications that are far beyond just money and currency. We've heard, NFTs are popping really heavily, and I know that's an area of education that most people don't understand. The way I think about it is that it's a security protocol. This is the, how would I say it? It's unbreakable security.
It is.
And you can package any sort of information inside of that blockchain. Companies like Ethereum, there's a lot of companies now, but Ethereum is best known for that type of business model. Tell me your story, how you got interested, and what you've been thinking how to apply it.
Yeah, so I became really hyper-focused on cryptocurrency during COVID, and I think it was for a couple of reasons. One, I just love tech, but I was also looking for a side hustle. Like I just wanted to learn something new and get some passive income going. And so before, I was familiar with some of the privacy coins like Monero, and then of course Elon Musk made Bitcoin quite popular, and
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin,
mm-hmm.
yeah. when he announced that he was going to start taking Bitcoin as payment for Teslas, the world went nuts and the price went up a lot. But I just started to study it really more in depth at that point. And just from the currency standpoint alone, I'm excited about the possibilities with crypto as a currency. Specifically, when you look at workers' comp and some of the problems we have with the financial part of workers' comp, insurance companies, TPAs, they're still sending out paper checks, and they get lost in the mail, they get misdelivered, they're late. And I always think how inefficient, especially if it's a big settlement. This client's waiting for a $100,000 check in the mail, and it's going to come in a regular envelope with a stamp on it. It doesn't make sense to me. So in the future, I think that just how we handle currency will change because of blockchain. Because when you issue a payment, it's very fast, depending on the currency that you're using.
10 minutes at most.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's other currencies that are almost immediate.
Right.
So,
right.
And then you can also verify it. So these public blockchains, you just look at the ledger and you see that it went through from one wallet to another wallet.
It's a disruptive technology. You don't have to have middlemen for the financial transfers. I love your idea. I don't know if the insurance companies can get their act together enough to do something like that. But it is interesting. I have a theory that the U.S. currency is going to switch over at some point to some sort of digital currency. That's massive disruption. I don't know if I would see the insurance companies doing it until then, though. But
I think that's way down the road. But I am excited about the future potential. Looking ahead.
In general, I think that what's probably most significant, and this is just global, for us, applicable, but just as a new asset class, that's incredibly fascinating to me. And really immature. I ended up, I belong to a couple of groups that we were talking about this, and somebody was talking about, they did a blockchain technology class at MIT, and was talking about the saturation of currency, of cryptocurrency in the market is infinitesimal. It's I think that the saturation number was maybe 20% of its total, potential, globally, which is just insane. And I think it's funny. People are like, "Well, which one are you gonna pick?" And I'm like, "It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Pick any of them, and then trade it to a more stable one immediately if that's what you're concerned about."
Right.
So you've been trading?
Yeah, I've been trading. I've been mining.
Really? Okay, so that's cool.
Yeah, my law office was not being used during COVID, and I'm like, what should I do with this? Should I let the lease go or what? And I was like, it's free electricity. I'm going to put some high-powered laptops in there and start mining Ethereum.
No way.
So yeah, one laptop turned into 20, and then all of a sudden,
oh my gosh,
this
that's fantastic.
little empire started to grow, and the building that I'm at, they laugh with me because it grew so big that I started generating so much heat in the building that we couldn't sufficiently cool it down. I was pulling a lot of electricity, and I'm paying for it now because it's not a couple of laptops anymore.
So is it profitable though to mine?
It is, yeah.
Even in Orange County?
Even, yeah. So our commercial rates for electricity are 15 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay.
And it's still very profitable. It's about 1/3 overhead for your electrical.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So in Ethereum, everything right now is down, but it's still profitable even when the market's down.
Right. I mean, you're mining. I mean, yes, that's fantastic. Man, I need to do that. I need to get into some mining.
Yeah. And then Chia was this new coin that got me excited because proof of work is very energy intensive, and I don't know how long that can go on or be sustainable. I know that a lot of places are trying to use clean energy to power their ASIC mining operations, but what's cool is the guy that created BitTorrent, Graham Cohen, he came up with a proof of space and time that is using hard drive space.
Okay.
And his theory is there's so much underutilized storage out there. Why don't we take advantage of that rather than processing power? And it's a really cool coin. The more I study it, the more I hope for its success in the future.
Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic. I think about how we could be doing it in legal tech. And again, I kind of go back to the idea that this is a new security protocol. You can imagine, I mean, obviously transfer money, that's the biggest stakeholder, money that when it comes to security of transfer. But gosh, you get into even legal documentation. Anything that you want to keep protected. Is the court going to start looking at blockchain authenticated evidence as something that's more important or more substantial than some sort of paper evidence?
That's awesome to think about. I was just thinking right now, what if the courts, right now the system is called EAMS, and it's kind of an old antiquated system. What if in the future, a blockchain was tracking settlements?
Yeah.
It would be unalterable and public.
Right.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
There's all kinds of, I think, applications. Even now with this situation with the $3 per page for the QMEs to review records, and we had a topic yesterday here at the convention on. And the number was 10,000, so that was the talked about number. 10,000 pages at $3 a page. That's a lot of money for a QME to review records. We've been, I'm part of an association. We've been talking to a lot of the stakeholders about this as a problem, and obviously everybody's talking about it as a problem. Well, how could you provide a solution, or how could somebody provide a solution that has maybe posts the non-private information of whatever's been subpoenaed, so that everyone can see it?
Yeah.
Why not?
Right. Yeah. So, all great ideas.
Yeah, great ideas are what I say. Ideas are cheap, and execution is expensive.
Yes, it is.
That's cool. Yeah. So, tell the audience, like, where do you go to study about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency and blockchain?
My go-to really is Reddit these days.
Okay.
So there's a lot of subs on Reddit that are specific to the coins that I'm interested in.
Okay.
Or there's the more broad subreddits about cryptocurrency in general.
Gotcha.
But there's a few good websites, Discord channels, Keybase channels.
Okay.
I do all that.
Good. I got to hit you up on that stuff. The one place I've been somewhat useful is Clubhouse.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, somewhat useful. They've got a couple of cryptocurrency Clubhouse, but it's people talking. So obviously, you get people that just talk to talk and want to hear their own voice, as opposed to writing down something that maybe people are gonna read and find informational. So
Right.
yeah. I also read a book. Key book for me in 2018 was from William Mugayar. He's a co-founder, I think, of Ethereum. Excuse me, I think it was co-written by Vitalik Buterin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's called The Business Blockchain.
Okay.
It's a great book. William Mugayar, and I think co-wrote by Vitalik Buterin. The Business Blockchain. So it talks about the packaging of information within the blockchain as a way to authenticate transactions. And
wow.
There's transactions everywhere. Use cases. I know there's in the world now, there's several use cases that people are testing out, like in shipping, container shipping. Obviously, that's a hot topic with the supply chain issues. Yeah, I mean, there's middleman after middleman after middleman in those supply chains that could be cut out with a clear ledger and transaction.
Wow.
So
I'll have to check that book out. Sounds interesting.
It's a cool book. So I asked you too, like, what are the top 3 technological changes that you've made since starting your practice?
Well, we touched on this earlier. I moved away from the proprietary software, and part of doing that meant, for example, creating pleading paper in Google Documents.
Okay.
Which was surprisingly challenging. But once you do it once, it's good forever and shareable and reusable.
Really?
So that change was important because, like I said, we're able to work from anywhere and on any computer, and it's always functioning the way we expect it to. Moving into Mara's case, that was an early move that we made, and it was the best move possible because they're still the king of the castle as far as what's available out there for workers' comp practice management, because they have the integration with the jet filing, and it saves just so much time.
So the Mara's, when did you adopt Mara's case?
I think that was around 2014.
14. Okay.
That was when Johnny, the lead programmer, was still developing it.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, so that's been good for mobility. It's good for the connectivity to EAMS, the filing. What are some other advantages from Mara's case?
So it's a centralized system that tracks everything. So as far as like people ask me, well, how do you trust your employees are actually working from home? Well, everything's there. Like I see a live activity log of what everyone has done on every file. So if you touch a file and you've made a phone call and you put a note in, I see the employee did a note. And so from a management standpoint, it's great to see your own employees' productivity and what's being worked on and who's the most productive team member and rewarding them for that. And it keeps everyone accountable so they're not taking a 2-hour nap on the clock. On top of that, for each case, sometimes we have to prove how hard we worked on a case, especially if there's a fee split. Like if there's a sub in or sub out of another applicant attorney, we can look at a file on Mara's case and we can see, okay, we did 1,000 tasks for this one.
Gotcha.
And you can print a report from there, show the judge if you had to, how much work you did on it.
Okay. That's really cool. I didn't know, I really didn't know you guys had to prove the hours or the effort.
Only if there's a dispute. So most practitioners are pretty civil when it comes to the split process. There's that CON formula that we use, which is a pro rata type of split with a reward to the settling attorney.
Okay.
But sometimes we just hit some prickly practitioners that want to fight about everything.
Got it. Yeah, it's like your hub. I look at I look at practice management as a hub and spoke kind of way. Your workflow, and every business has a core workflow, and that's the software or the infrastructure that you use to support that core workflow is just so critical.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's good. And you guys have been happy with Mara's case?
Yeah, really happy. One other thing about Mara's case that we did early on that has really helped is when we get our mail, I have a dedicated employee that gets our mail. We have like 2 feet of mail every day, basically. Yeah. And her job is laborious. You got to take all the staples out, stack them up, put separator sheets in there, but then she scans it into this one giant PDF. And we started to do OCR on the PDF so that all the text was recognizable and searchable and copy and pasteable. So all of our scanned in documents can be searched and they're uploaded that way into Mara's case. And so if you're going through like a deposition transcript and they were talking about a dog, I can find that in like a second.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that helped out a lot.
Okay. Yeah. That's really cool. That's obviously OCR is really powerful. One of those things that I thought was going to be more popular in comp, right? We have a ton of records, and you're trying to find injury, trying to find related injury. I don't know what you say, like medication side effects, anything like that. Early in '07, we launched Genie Docs, which was one of the designs that never took off, which I was really surprised, was an OCR Cross Reference. We would OCR all the documents, and then you would be able to type in keywords and pull out those keywords from the documents.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But it never caught fire. I was surprised.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Maybe I think sometimes people just need to see the power of what you can do with stuff like that.
It was a sales problem.
Yeah.
I agree.
When I was driving in prior to COVID for trials, I'd even sometimes have text-to-speech read to me a QME's report just to refresh my memory about what I'm going to trial on and the medical evidence. But it was cool because it's really easy to do. If you OCR'd your QME report, have it read to you while you drive.
That's fantastic. What a tip. I hadn't thought about that, but that's obviously I'm not a practitioner, so that's really cool. It's very cool. I'm curious, with these technologies and these efficiencies, because that's to me what I look at technology as. It's an efficiency multiplier. I'm curious if you've ever thought of like what your ratio of labor to like case count is.
Yeah, I haven't really delved deep into thinking about that.
It'd be one of those things at the board. I can imagine. Hey, do you know what you could just start dropping it? Like, hey, do you know what your ratio, your overhead to case count is? See what people say.
Yeah, that's great.
I used to do that. Well, occasionally. Not to. I'm just curious, but to competitors, see what their collection ratio was, just to see how well we were doing. I'd be curious, but it's also a business reason to see if we're doing the right things when it comes to collecting money, because that's a big deal for us.
And the copy service is probably your number one battle. Get paid for the work that you did.
Sure is. It's pretty crazy. It would be fun to find out like what what settlement, like a ratio between settlement and per case would be. That would be interesting.
Oh yeah. I think I need to start getting out of the trenches. I've been in the trenches this whole time of litigation and looking more at a high level at the business, like we're talking about right now.
Yeah, that's fun stuff. So let's talk about injured workers for a minute. I'm curious, how do you think about client satisfaction when it comes to your firm and the tech efficiencies?
I think it's a huge part of it. Prior to starting my own practice, I saw the number one pitfall of the big firms that I'd be competing against was they had, frankly, atrocious communication with their clients.
Yeah.
They just didn't. They did not communicate with the clients. And that's your number one reason to get a bar complaint filed. It's the number one reason to get a 1-star Yelp review. If someone's feeling ignored and not important, they can easily take that frustration out and share it with the world. So going into starting my own practice, I said that's my number one goal, to always be on the forefront of my mind that these are human beings who are in pain. They have financial needs, medical care needs, but they need to know that they're not forgotten. They're just like not a number in the system. So it was important to me that each client wasn't going to get lost in the shuffle. And to do that, though, I needed technology to help with the communication. So I would try to educate every new client that came in that, look, I'm a one-man show. If every client called me and wanted to talk to me, I wouldn't have enough time in the day to get that done. But I'm not going to ignore you. So if you have something important that's come up that's a legal question, please use email, because I can knock out an email way faster usually than a phone call. You just get right to the point and answer the questions that are being presented to you by the client. And for the most part, clients abided by that request of mine, and it did make things a lot more efficient, because when you communicate in writing also, you've got the rest of your team who can see the history, and they're learning from me. So they see a client ask me a question, they see how I answered it, and it's training for the rest of the team, and it's efficiency and keeping clients satisfied.
That's a great point. That's a really good point. The modeling for your team, showing them how the right way, the most efficient way, for them to, all employees want to be efficient. They want to get the most done with their time, I think, and so that's it's a non-shiny way to think about it. I appreciate that. Yeah. What other kind of technologies do you think have been made a difference for your clients? Communication obviously is key, and I think that's so global, so important for you to say. I'm glad you did.
Yeah. Also with clients, I think that they like to hear on that initial phone call, they usually have a stack of paperwork. And they're like, do I need to give you this? Do I need to give you that? I say, no, just let us know all the doctors you've seen so far. We're going to issue a subpoena for all records. We're going to get the records from the insurance company. So your service through Gemini has been incredibly helpful from the tech standpoint in relieving the clients of this laborious process of how do I get the paperwork to you, or do I have to scan this or mail it, or what do I do? Don't worry about it. We'll get a copy of the original records from the custodian of those records.
Right. Yeah, reminding them that this is all done legally, through a legal process, so we can certify, sign affidavits on declarations on the records to make sure that not that judges won't take the patient's records, but that you get them in a format for sure that's more efficient for you and your law office too, so not just for them.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's really the main thing, though, is using email communication for clients. That's the biggest crossover with tech and the service of the clients.
Gotcha. Yeah. Do you feel? Do you have a sense that you've been able to speed case duration from your experience over time, and/or settlement offers?
Yes. That's more of, I think, the legal process games that we play rather than the tech part of it. So I think that it is a race, so to speak, to get the panel that you want for QME, to get that done as early as possible, because you will always need one at the end of the day. I always say that to defense attorneys. I say all roads lead to a QME, so why battle me along the way? Because we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Let's just get there and get it done. But that has sped things up.
Gotcha.
Just to get the legal dominoes all lined up.
Gotcha. Yeah, your ability to do that and push the pace. Yeah, through your efficiency. Yeah. Cool. Well, give us a quick injured worker success story, and then I'll let you be on your way.
All right. Rather than give you a very specific story, I think that what's been really cool to see is our clientele who do get injured at work and it's career ending, and it's all they've known is that type of job, or that type of career. There's a lot of psychology in what we do, like therapy. Yeah. We have to motivate our own clients not to just give up on life and to be down and depressed and this is it, this is the end. No, it's not. You're going to get a voucher. You can be retrained to learn something new. What do you love? What do you love to do? So when I have these talks with clients and I see that their mind kind of opens up, I can learn other trades and things. And then to see them move into that, and often it can be a better career, that makes me happy.
What a fantastic opportunity that you get to do, to touch people's lives in that way.
Yeah, it's great to see.
People are probably at their lowest point in some cases, a lot of cases, and man, to just be a light in that way, good for you.
Yeah, it's the satisfying part of this job.
For sure. Right on. Well, thanks, Brian. Appreciate your time. This has been really fun. Best of luck and success to you and your business, and we'll catch up later.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
All right, Brian.